camp right here. And then, so we set our packs down, and then thousands of mosquitoes attack us. So I know. So we're putting our nets on. I'm covering my whole body, dude. And there's like, I'm covering myself as much as I can. And there's just mosquitoes. Like every time you move, they all move with you. You know, it's like that. It's just terrible, dude. So I'm sitting there like low on water, exhausted, being attacked by mosquitoes, like thinking about, I kind of just want to go, I just kind of want to bail out of here right now. I'm not enjoying myself, but you know, they're my friends. So I'm like, I'm trying to have fun. We're having fun, making the best of it. And I'm like, okay, I got to eat something. I'm dying for food. So I bring these custom burritos. Like I make my own food. I don't do the freeze dried, which turned out to be a little bit of a problem. So I'm sitting in this chair wearing my freaking mosquito net. I'm trying to cook on this little stove, and I get out the tortilla. I have these refried beans. I add water. I get them all ready to put in the burrito. I cook up the beans, and then I realize, wait a second, as I'm cooking them, I'm like, I can't find my titanium spoon. And so I'm looking all through my pack, and I'm looking everywhere, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have my titanium fork in here. I have no way to mix anything. I have no thing to eat from. And I'm like, I can't believe I don't have my fork. Like this is, and I remember, dude, I remember packing it. I was like, I packed that. I know I did, but I switched stoves at the last minute because I found my other stove, and I must have left the spoon behind. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got nothing. So I'm like desperately like looking for something that I could mix food with, eat with. Like I'm not eating with my, I mean, you know, so like I'm screwed. Like, I'm like 5 days without any utensils. So I'm like, okay, I got to do something. So I remember I have this shovel that I use. It's a titanium shovel for digging crap hole. When you gotta go to the when you gotta go to the bathroom, like you gotta dig a 6-inch hole, and you need a titanium shovel. And for a joke, 2 years ago, I wrote a little thing on the shovel that said emergency fork. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, cause there's the one end that's a shovel, but the other end is the handle, and it's in the perfect shape of a spoon. And I'm like, I can't do this. Like my buddy's like, you're going to have psychological problems if you try to do this and use this as a fork, man. I'm like, I got no choice. I'm desperate. Like, this is it. So it took me a little while to get over that. Dude, so I'm like using the under end of this shovel to mix these beans, and I'm like, I can't believe this is happening to me right now. And so I get done cooking. I'm so hungry. So I'm like, okay, I got this tortilla. I put a little Kerrygold butter on it. I'm all happy. And then I start to pour the beans, but the beans were still too runny. So I'm like, oh my gosh, they're runny. So I'm trying to fold the burrito and make sure it doesn't spill. and as I'm bringing it up to my mouth, dude, no, I'm not kidding. The beans roll the beans roll out the back end, and they roll out the front end. And I'm like, oh no. And so it starts to drip on my pants, on my shirt. And I'm like, oh crap. Dude, so I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. So I jam it in my face as fast as I can, but I forgot I have my mosquito net on. So I jam the burrito right into the net, dude. And the beans just go all over the net. Dude. And my buddy's watching me. He's sitting there watching me. And he's not, dude, he's not saying a word. And I'm like, beans are all over my gloves, on my pants, and on my shirt. He's like, dude, that burrito. He goes, that burrito just attacked you. He goes, that burrito just won that fight. And I'm just sitting there, dude, covered in beans. I'm like, I'm a perfect bait for an apex predator, man. And I'm like, I can't even believe this just happened. Like, I'm just, dude, I was sitting covered in beans. Right now. Dude, it was the worst. I'm sitting there like, and you know me, like I'm Mr. Backpacker, right? So they're just looking at me like, wow, dude. They just... And I told him, I said, turn the camera on. I have no, turn the camera on. I want you to film this. And he's like, I can't. He just walked away. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Dude, so that's day one. Day one. Okay.
Skis, they've got their bindings on tight so that their skis aren't falling off.
Right.
It's the same idea with the kayak where you're never tied in, but you're cinched in pretty tight so that you don't want to be falling out of your kayak halfway through the rapids.
At your waist?
Yeah.
Is it like some type of cinch thing at your waist? Because I feel like I've heard someone say there's a release cord or something. Is that
Like a skirt or something?
Oh, so that's different. So just as far as the outfitting goes, you've got like a backband and you've got like footrests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so that kind of like tightens you into the boat, and you've got hip pads. And so you're fully padded like inside so that everything's pretty tight, like a ski boot or something like that. The pull cord that you're thinking of is your skirt, and that's your exit. So the skirt goes around the cockpit rim, and that keeps all the water out, and it keeps the kayak dry. And then the pull cord's kind of like your emergency chute in a skydive or in a base jump.
But you can't get out of it unless you pull that cord.
Yeah, you're not going to get out of it until you pull the cord.
That sounds
for sure.
like tied into me, Mike.
Well, there's no bricks tied to your foot or anything, but it's
it's a little different.
That's gnarly.
You got to be able to reach that pull cord.
I mean, enough for it to creep in your head a little bit. Like, all right, like if I go down this waterfall and I got to pull this cord, like,
wait,
yeah, go.
I want to hear where he's at now that he's gone underwater on this 80-foot drop. Like, what happens next? Where's the pull cord? No, but what happens next?
So on impact, there's kind of. I should really run a study sometime and ask some different athletes what they do. But the two methods that I've essentially practiced, and I go back and forth, and I'll tell you what I use nowadays, but are to either tighten up really tight, like and essentially prepare for a hit. And so you're flexing all your muscles like you would if you're preparing for someone to punch you in the gut or something like that.
Take an impact, right.
Or take an impact like a car crash or whatever. You're like tight. Right. And so that's one way to do it. The other way is to go essentially go limp. Like you just let all your muscles go extremely soft.
Wow.
So that it will ragdoll you, but when it ragdolls you, you're not going to like pull a muscle necessarily.
Right. Fighting.
And because the water's so powerful, even if you do tighten up, it's still, a very good chance that it might ragdoll you underwater. Dang. Once you're under, the idea, like on a perfect landing, is you kind of just like slowly resurface upright. You know what I mean? And then sometimes what happens is because there's currents and stuff like that under the water, it'll grab you, it'll grab your paddle weird or whatever, and it might twist you up, and so you might pop up upside down and then roll up. And that comes back to your previous statement, Corey, like before you go off the 80-foot waterfall, we're going to teach you how to roll so that you can roll your kayak upright, and you don't need to pull that the pull tab in the first place.
Man, the sport has shaped me in so many ways. I think a lot of it is like I first attribute a lot of it to this guy Josh that I was talking about that became my mentor, and he's a really special human. He just like really took me under his wing. Like it was, I don't know. I'm trying to formulate like how to even say it how it is, because it feels so unique and just like huge in my life. Yeah, I mean, all the people have really showed me. First, I'll start with the people, I guess, and from like this community, because it is such a small niche thing, I've definitely learned like, I don't know, just how special, like how to appreciate how special life is, and just like share a lot of beautiful moments. And like, it's such a loving community, and people that are just like stoked, because no one is getting on, like, for example, no one's going to walk on a piece of plastic in between mountains unless they're just like stoked to do it, and like a ball of stoke. Like no one's motivating themselves, or like no one's like not self-motivating themselves and like going to do this thing, because there's like, why would you do that? It's a silly thing.
Not even a thing where you'd say, "Oh, just try it." Not even that. You won't just try it.
Yeah. And there's steps. Yeah, there's steps to it, and so everyone that's trying Highline has taken a road that like shows kind of commitment in a way, which is really cool. And I think that brings out like a lot of cool, unique people and brings them to the same area. Even though it might be someone that otherwise without slacklining, you might have never met, because you're just like, you're different people, but like when you're around the Highline, you're the same people, like you just are stoked, and you just want to like enjoy what you enjoy. So yeah, I don't know. The people have definitely played a huge impact in my life in so many ways. But then the slacklining itself, it definitely, especially highlining, makes you so present. It like has definitely taught me how to just take a breath for a sec and just like chill, just breathe, you know, like it forces you to be super, super present. And it's like almost very meditative, like in a way. Because it's intense, but like if you let that intensity get to you, then like you start shaking and you fall off, you know? So you like need to learn to like cope with that fear and like how to handle it and how to manage it. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's just something that has made me overall like a very happy person, I'd like to think.
You know, and that's the key. People don't talk about it.
It's so true, though.
It always sounds like, you know, with optimization or getting better at your pursuits and everything, it's almost like it's almost like fast food for a lot of people, because people are like, how do I get better at my job, which I hate? How do I get better at the sport that I don't even really love? I just want to get better at something. It's like, find something you love. Start off with that.
That's the core of it. Yeah, you're right. That's the core. It's true. You know, because no matter on the worst possible day, if the core of it, it's like, well, I look at all the stuff I do, I'm not really working because I love it all. And yeah, it's hard work sometimes, but I still love it at the core. So it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah. And I feel like that's left out so much because it's kind of like a fast food shortcut. Like a lot of people are trying to, you know, boil the ocean, get a really big audience, you know, with whatever they're doing or whatever coaching it is, but nobody ever talks about starting off with the foundation of finding something that you love to do. Then you're going to stick to it.
Really well said. That's so true. That is absolutely the truth.
Yeah.
I
know I always say that to my clients that I'm coaching, even just general health coaching. I always tell them when it comes to just their fitness that like, stop looking at fitness as like going to the gym. Because we know you probably don't like going to the gym. That's why you're here. And I don't say it in those words, but, people forget, like, just find something to move and be active, and especially find something that you enjoy, because that's where the sustainability comes in the long term. And then you build off of that.
And I wonder what your process is once you've made the decision to go. I mean, you don't think of anything else. What is I'm just curious of your thought when you're on a wave like that, or there is no thinking, it's just doing. I'm curious if there's a mental state or you know what I'm saying? Like
or even a flow state, since flow state's been quite a common topic recently in the last few episodes.
It's like riding a mountain.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a level of flow state that you have when you're making this decision to turn around and paddle into that wave, but it's not like a pure flow state. You're still shitting yourself. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look real.
Wow.
Your body is saying no, and your mind's saying yes, and you kind of override it. It doesn't really change on the big days. Like, I've been doing it. I've probably been exposed to big surf, you know, more than probably up there with like 30 people in human history ever. Just because I grew up around the time of, you know, forecasts and air travel.
Dang.
So I got to expose myself year round, but which sounds weird. I shouldn't say it that way. But my point being is that it never normalizes that part of it.
The most important was the meditation, though, right? Remember, you're supposed to have an interview with a senior officer, SEAL, before you even get accepted. But I got accepted, and so they had to like check that box. And so I'm at Officer Kennedy School, and this commander named Woody Woodruff comes by, right? He has to go out of his way to go to Newport, Rhode Island. And I go into this room, and Woody is like 6'2" or 3", tan, these piercing blue eyes. And it turns out Woody is one of the founders of the Ironman, because the Ironman was founded by a number of SEALs.
I knew I recognized that name.
Yeah, Woody Woodruff. He's just a stud. What a great guy. So he's check this out. So we sit down, and here's like I'm not even an ensign yet. Like I'm an officer candidate, which is the same as like an E5, earning $500 a month. But I have an MBA, CPA, black belt, and at the time probably was a little cocky. But he sits down and he just smiles and he just stares at me. Right? He just stares at me. He doesn't say anything. And so I'm like, and I'm staring back at him and I'm like, oh shit, we're playing the staring game. And I'm like, this guy's going to kick my ass in the staring game, right? Because he's a Navy SEAL. But I could tell he didn't have any ill intent. He was just trying to see how I would hold up, you know?
Right.
It's like most people are really comfortable just chatting it up, right? And he was very comfortable just being quiet and just like, okay,
sitting in silence.
Let's just have some silence here and let me see what happens. And so I just sat in silence with him because I had meditated for 5 years now or 4 years. And I was like, I just sat in silence and I wasn't like trying to stare him down. You're like, who's in first to blink? I was just enjoying the silence.
No, but you wouldn't expect something like that to go down. Like I wouldn't.
It was completely out of the blue, right? Out of the box. And so I just kind of sat in quiet because I knew that it wasn't my job to ask the first question. And so finally, like after 10 minutes of this, he smiles and he goes, hey, Mark, have you ever been completely out of control? And I said, no, sir. And he goes, well, you will be. So, yes, sir. And then I tell the story in my book, The Way of the SEAL. He says, well, what do you stand for? Right? And I just started blurting some things out. He goes, stop. He goes, no, what do you really stand for? Like, what are your values? And that's when I immediately just Nakamura just came into my head because my values for my family were non-existent. It was like chaos, right?
Right. I'm seeing the dichotomy. It's just such a
we didn't have dinner conversations about family values and, you know, right. future vision and stuff like that. You know, it was chaos.
Right.
And so, but Nakamura had values and he talked about them at his Thursday night meditation sessions afterwards. He would get a chalkboard out and we'd go through these, you know, conversations. And, you know, I looked at him, I said, you know what? I do have a pretty strong stand. I said, one of the things I stand for is that there's no such thing as a free lunch. That we got to work really hard for everything, you know, to earn our right. And so I was kind of speaking to the SEAL ethos of you got to earn your trident every day. I didn't know that at the time that the SEAL had the ethos, but I intuitively knew that becoming a SEAL was not a one and done thing. You had to earn it every day, just like I had to earn being a black belt every day. It's like, it's not the end of the road, it's the beginning.
Supposed to be back. I all of a sudden have to take the biggest poop I've ever had to take in my life. Like it came on like a ton of bricks. Well, that's not a problem until I remembered that Brian said that no one, like basically the toilets had no water in them because he hadn't started the plumbing, like the water yet. So my first thought was like, oh shit, like I don't want to go take a giant, like lay a giant deuce.
Here we go.
In the bathroom.
It's party time.
Because there's no water. I'm like, the whole entire cabin that's like, you know, whatever, 3,000 square feet.
Like Corey?
It's going to smell like a freaking outhouse. Okay, so that's like that. Now the anxiety sets in a little bit. So, you know, that doesn't help at all when you got to go to the bathroom. It doesn't matter if it's number 1 or 2. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay. So now I'm kind of like, I haven't told Kayla yet. I'm just like, all right, I can pinch it off. You know, I can hold this. It'll be good. I'll wait until Brian gets back. And it's not happening. Like minutes are going by and it's only getting worse. So now it gets to the point where I'm like, I go into the other room and Kayla's unpacking. I'm like, hey babe. She's like, yeah. I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom so bad. Like it's so bad. And she's like, well, just go in the toilet. I'm like, no. There's no way I'm going to go in the toilet. We got all these like donors coming. I haven't even met them before. The only people that are here are you, Mindy, and myself. So I sure as heck know if they walk in and it just reeks in here, you guys are all going to point fingers at me. And then I'm going to be like
they'll be off the hook right away.
Right? Okay. So now it's like same thing. Minutes are going on. And now it's getting to the point where I'm like sweating. Like, I mean, I'm just,
oh, dang.
It's like, it's getting bad. Now, let me back up. I forgot to mention that before we went up the mountain, we stopped in this pizza place, and I'm, I probably ate a whole large pizza to myself, which I was known to do back in the day.
This is a key piece of information that was left out.
Key piece. So
stuffing before you go up to altitude.
Right. And I can't even put it into words. This is the worst. This isn't just because I was in the mountains. This is the worst experience I've ever had with having to go number 2. Mm-hmm. And
you got pressure.
So now, so back to the weather. It's full blown winter storm outside. So I'm like, dude, it's not like I could just go outside and, just go relieve myself out there. And I might add too, I'm blind. So even if there was a chance in the middle of winter, it's like, dude, I would have fallen into a freaking snowdrift. So
get lost out there. Yeah.
Oh my God. So now it's getting to the point where Kayla is starting to laugh at me. Like it's getting to be.
Oh, dang.
Right. Like,
gotta love that support.
So I'm like trying to tell him, like, no, baby, you don't understand. This is like
not funny, man.
Straight up emergency. All right. So now it gets to the point where, Kayla's laughing so hard that Mindy.
I can totally see her laughing and teasing you too. Like, that's totally can. She's like, what's the matter, Corey? Oh my gosh, that's so Kayla.
Yeah. And Kayla, because she loves it, because she always teases me, like, Mr. like, got it all planned, got it together. And so her seeing me go through something like this was just, she was loving it.
Oh.
So now Mindy's involved. Now Mindy's kind of aware that.
Oh no.
Yeah,
hey, Corey,
because she hears us, right? I'm pacing around. Kayla's laughing, and I'm just like straight up at that point. I'm like, I told Kayla, I was like, I'm not going to the bathroom. I didn't tell Mindy that because I wanted to make sure if there was plan B, I didn't let her in on plan B. So then it got to the point where I could no longer hold it. I mean, there was nothing I could do. So I came up with basically it was go in the toilet, and we don't know how long until Brian's going to be back. And even if I went in the toilet and Brian comes back within, the next 5 to 10 minutes, it's still going to reek in the house. And
put a blanket over it. I don't know.
I don't know, dude. I was avoiding that at all cost. Like, I don't know. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to try that one out because we've all been in a porta potty. And
and you don't want to break it. Like if something's wrong and it gets broken, Brian's gonna be like, "Dang, Corey, I was on for 15 minutes and you broke my toilet."
Totally. Okay, so I'm like, I got to do something. So I came up with the plan of using a grocery sack, like one of those straight up like plastic grocery bag. So
okay,
I go, yep. You like where this is going?
I like it. I feel good about it.
Because I'm like,
this is a rescue at this point.
Right. Well, because I'll tell you where I got the idea for the bag. I'm like, well, when a dog goes outside, you put it in the bag and pick it up and
that's great thinking, dude. I like it.
And you tie it off, right? So I was like, I can contain.
Dude, I'm going to call Corey when I have an issue. I'm going to Corey, what do I do? Code Brown, what do I do?
So now I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom and I'm just going to shit into the bag. Like, that's the plan. So I get into the bathroom and now it's like, wait, if I miss or I have some sort of issue, like now I have a really shitty situation because it's.
Oh, dang, because now you got,
It's like, all over the floor because I never practiced this. So it wasn't like, oh yeah, I got this. So now Kayla is dying. Kayla's literally dying, bro. She's like on the floor.
I can see her laughing. I can totally picture her die laughing and just like, oh my god, oh my gosh, babe, this is unbelievable. And now I'm down to like, I mean, it's within. I gotta let this go. And so I'm like, I'm going outside. So I make my way. I go out front, and I somehow, this is kind of funny thinking back now because I would have never asked Kayla, but I didn't have the independence that I do now. So I was like, babe, you got to come with me. Like, you got to go outside with me. I'm going to get lost. Like, I'm going to fall off the damn deck into the snowdrift or something. So she comes out with me, like, laughing her ass off. Mindy's in the kitchen just like, what are they doing right now? Like, what is going on? So I
get outside. I find a spot and I'm just nervous. I'm like, am I in front of the window? Is Mindy looking at me right now? And at this point, I don't care. I pull my pants down. I grab that damn bag. I pulled it up, like the two handles up around my hips and just let it go.
You know what? The handles are handy though. I like that. The handles. I had no idea those handles could be so effective.
Kayla gave me, I remember she was like,
because you don't want to have issues holding the bag. Like you don't want to have issues holding the bag. So the handles are amazing. Right. I like that.
Right, because if I missed, now it's on their front deck. Now it's like, all right, I just totally took a shit right on the front deck. And now all the donors are going to step in it while they're coming in.
Dang.
Okay, so, all right, I'm good. I get it. I do my business. I tie the bag off, and I'm just like, oh my God. It's like the biggest relief that I've had.
Heavy
I'm
bag.
Like, right, dude, it was heavy. It was
a 2-pound
pizza. Oh, so now it's like,
set it next to the other grocery bags.
Yep. Okay, so now we got the next problem. I got to discard this bag. I got to I'm not going to go inside and throw it in the trash can. I don't know where their trash can is outside. Well, it seems sensible to go bury it in the snow. It just seemed like the right thing to do, and Kayla agreed with me. So I decided to, what I thought was go out beyond, pretty far beyond the deck. Apparently I didn't make it very far, and I managed to fall in the snow drift. I'm like, literally like trenching through snow. And I'm like, dude, I'm done with this bag. I toss it and just try to and in my head, and for the listeners, if, like I said, if you just tuning in, I'm totally blind. So this is not easy. So I toss the bag and it's over.
You're totally blind, holding a 2-pound bag of crap, and you got to get rid of it fast.
Yeah, and it's like steaming. It's all warm because it's like 10 degrees outside. I'm like, dude, I gotta get rid of this shit. So toss it over in the snowdrift, it's all good. And Kayla and I roll back inside, and at this point, Kayla and I are both dying laughing. We're both just. I was
just say, either crying or laughing, one or the other.
Pretty much. So now I think I'm in the clear. It's all good. Mindy's kind of like, what is going on? And Kayla's just dying because I shit in the bag. She's like, I can't believe you just did that, but I kind of give you props. Okay, well, I don't know, about 30 minutes later, you hear the snowmobiles, and Brian comes through the door and he starts introducing all the people, and
VIPs.
I'm like, at this point, it's still kind of in our mind, just as we're laughing about it, but not concerned in any way. I thought I pulled it off. And so Brian brings in all this stuff, and he settles all the rooms, gets all the donors settled in the rooms and stuff, and they all go in the rooms, and we're sitting on the couch, and Brian comes in, and he's really concerned. You can just tell, because Brian, he's very he's just a happy-go-lucky dude.
He's easy going. Yeah, totally.
Super easy going. And he's got this really serious thing, and he goes, Kayla and I are sitting on the couch, he goes, hey, Mindy. And Benny's like, hey, yeah, Brian? I don't know, it's really weird. Someone left a bag of poop on our deck, out below our deck. So Kayla and I, at that point, just absolutely lose it. We literally are dying laughing because, at that point, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't get it out far enough. I didn't bury this. So Brian is literally he's like, what is going on right now? We're laughing. And then Kayla's begins. I don't even know, because I was laughing so hard, but she basically was like, yeah, Corey had to go number 2 and didn't want to drop it in the toilet because there's no water. So, he decided to, and he did not laugh at all. He was, and so Kayla and I are just we're dying. Mindy is trying so hard. Yeah. Cause we know he probably picked it up oh, what's this bag? And started, probably fondling my poop.
Dude, Dude, I thought he was going to take it to one of the rooms, thinking it was a bag of one of the donors. Like, oh, they left a bag out here. Take it into a room. I was like, oh, dude. That's what I was waiting for. He's like, one of the rooms just don't smell right. I don't know what it is. I'm going to. Wow.
Yeah, so that's my story. Pooped in a bag, and one of my best friends fondled it without realizing it that it was my poop. So
why he wasn't laughing, dude?
Until
pretty straight face right there.
Right until this day when it gets brought up, he still like has that dead serious face.
He
like,
gets stoic.